Well, good morning everybody. Here I'm going to show you the first pitch of the tent, and it is right now straight out of the box, and later we're going to do some seam sealing and testing of the seam sealing. Doesn't go perfectly, but I'm going to show you it all anyway. So here we're putting the tent up. I don't have a garden as such, but I do have a deck. So a power drill and a few screws, and away we went. Typical block, and I didn't look at any instructions, so you can see it's quite simple really. Pick it out at the bottom, stick the pole in, get it out of it. Yeah. So I then ordered the seam sealing silicone. Ordered the wrong stuff, sent it back, ordered the right stuff, and so that's why the tent's in a slightly different position now. So let's get on with it. So obviously what we're going to seal is where all the stitching is. So all of the patches, reinforcing patches, all down the edges of the seams, taking particular notice of where guy out points are. Obviously there'll be extra stitching in those areas. However, down this front here there's no need for that at all. But we're going to do this seam all the way down here, and then we also need to make sure that we get these patches. There's one on either side and one at the back, and along there as well. Now the reason that we need to do that is a quick shot of the inside. There's ventilation in the Lanshan 1 Pro, and it's fastened in on that seam, so we need to make sure that we catch that seam. This is the seam along the back, so all the way right along there, and then of course back up the ridges up here. Take particular note of that little toe on the top there, and anyway, here's the seam seal that is right for the Lanshan Pro. It's the Seam Grip Plus seal. It came with that little brush, but I did order this syringe. In fact, there was 3 in a pack, and there will be a description and link below for you to use if you so wish. And I just had an old pot left over, plastic pot, that we squeeze a bit in here, and that other brush with the brown bristles on is something that I'd had in the garage for ages and ages, and it looked like a decent mixing stick to me, so that's what we used. So just looking at it coming out of the tube, it looked fairly runny, but not as runny as I would like to get into those thin seams, particularly on the edges of the tent. So what we can use to thin it out a little bit is this stuff here, which is white spirit, and you can see I just dribbled a tiny amount in to try and gauge how much I required to get it to the appropriate consistency. A good mix obviously is required to make sure that everything's there, and it might be difficult for you to tell off the video there, but I can see that it's actually running off that stick a lot better, the way that I wanted it to. And now we're just going to squeeze that pot a bit to make a bit of a funnel and get it into the syringe. Still quite thick, so it took a little bit of time, but anyway we've got it. And then time to put the plunger in. Now it's at this point that you need to be careful that you don't squeeze the whole thing right out the end. And what I did find in the end, this was just really a sample amount. What I did find in the end, that squeezing it over the pot meant that on the next batch, if there was any squeeze out, I could just put it back into the syringe again. Right, okay, so just tidying up that end. Perhaps didn't need to do that because I didn't make the best of jobs, as you might be able to see in a little while. But anyway, we're going to squeeze it on with the syringe and we're going to spread it out with the little brush that came with the kit. So here we are. Using the syringe, you can probably see that you get quite a thin bead in roughly the right position, and then we can spread it with the little brush here. And really, it's as simple as that. Obviously I'm doing the seam at the back at this point, which the camera position isn't showing very well. And eventually what I did was I actually coated that whole piece. I had a little bit extra, and what I'm doing there is a little sort of shallow depression in the top there, and I thought, well, that's going to fill up with water, so instead I filled it up with the silicone. Yeah, and away you go again, just spreading it in, making sure it's all in contact with the seams, filling up any of the little holes that might be there. Nice view of my elbow there, sorry. But as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm working it into all of the areas that I think look like they might create or cause a problem in the future. So again, the syringe I found, should I say, helped immensely in getting down the ridges. Yeah, I still wasn't happy about that hole on the top. If you were squeezing this straight out of the tube that the sealing silicone comes in, I don't think you'd be nearly as precise. So here I am actually trying to get it into that seam, and it's still not as the easiest thing in the world, certainly for me, but if you take your time, I think you find you can do a decent job. And so all I did was squeeze it in down there on all of the individual seams, and then worked it in with the brush. Now I'm going to save you the boredom of watching me do every little piece of the tent, but suffice it to say, I just continued doing that, and about half an hour later I was finished. So I left the tent pitched for the rest of the day and all the night, and this is the next morning, and it was considerably colder, hence the jacket. But I give it a good dousing with the garden hose. Went round for about 5 minutes in total, so I spread it up a little bit again to save you the boredom of watching me spraying a tent with water. But nevertheless, a good soaking, definitely. The idea being, of course, is to find any drips on the inside. Spoiler alert, we found a drip, but it was certainly in an area that was expected and not an unexpected area. So let's get the tent open. And open the fly, and what we found was just the one drip. Yeah, right there in front of us, just near that little pocket at the end of the tent, just there, and that was directly below that patch. So I obviously hadn't sealed that patch quite as well as I might have done, so I'm going to go back to that. And I've got a little bit of the silicone sealant left over, as you'll see in a second, but checking out the rest of the tin, and it was absolutely fine. So overall, pretty good result. So here you can see that I still have a little bit of the silicone left over, and I'm going to keep hold of the pot. The syringe will probably go out because it was gummed up by this point actually, and anyway, there was 3 in the pack, so I'll be alright. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Share, like and comment. Thank you.